My little pony, my little pony.
Hello everyone and welcome to Bronyville. This is Bronyville episode number 95, recorded on March 2nd, 2013. I'm your host, Apple Cider.
You survived! Yay!
Oh man, Sandy. This week, let me tell you what my week has been. This week has been Unicon, then come home, then flu, then work super hard on Friday, then be on call this weekend, then be woken up at 7 a.m. with a customer issue, then work until the moment I have to start this show.
Oh, AC, you have my pity.
Oh, man.
What a week for the community, but you know what?
Sandy, how was you?
You know, I feel kind of bad because I had a really good week. My convention last week went extremely well. Right under 1,500 people and $12,000 for charity. And it totally wasn't Unicon. So I had a fantastic weekend and felt really, really bad coming home on Monday and going, all my friends are in the middle of that fire.
Yeah, just so you know, Sandy, we were also part of a charity to raise $12,000 so that we could actually have people come to conventions again.
Yes, $12,000 that covered the VA's expenses, so they didn't just say, forget this fandom. We'll get to that once we're in the topic time.
Oh, geez.
Because all the news this week is everything but the Unicon meltdown. The news, or what you missed this week.
What you didn't hear.
What you didn't hear about.
And then the topic time, of course, is Unicon time. Which there is you know what? Funny enough to say, not only was there a lot of bad to come out of it, there was a shocking amount of good to come out of it.
Yeah.
We'll
get to that.
Well, you'll be surprised. Anyway, we haven't introduced our guest. It's Cyril.
Hello!
Hi, Cyril. What do you do?
I do music and I scream into microphones. I also do a podcast.
Okay, good. That's nice.
Uh-huh.
Where can you find the music and the microphones and the podcast?
Well, my music, you can go to YouTube. That's youtube.com/Cyril Rufus, which means Red Wolf, if you're curious. And 8bitx.com. 8bitx.com is where you can find my podcast, because it's just whatever the heck I want it to be that week. Themes are for people.
Scrubs.
Scrubs. There we go.
Casuals. There we go.
No, DeJorkin. Cyril Velocity. I will. Anyway.
Cyril Velocity. Do
you know I actually talked to Cyril about that, and like he was equally like, I can't believe it. And it's bad enough people call me Cyril all the time, and I'm just like,
You don't say.
Yeah, so that's like one of my pet peeves, but that's not a big deal.
But you too.
Oh, right.
Go ahead.
Oh, just music. So yeah, my music, I do metal and stuff. If you couldn't tell my insane amounts of growling, I also have a rather high rate vocal register when I choose to. So
it's good stuff.
You know, people are already saying that if we ship Cyril and Cyril together, it just becomes Cyril. So
it would be
the name would just equal out itself.
You know, given the amount of gay fan fiction about me, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, that's I have people who know me because I was in a fan fiction called Mike X Wells X Cyril.
Don't read that, kids.
Don't go look on the internet, kids.
Do not look on the internet. I'm just saying there is a fan fiction that people know me for. That it's a shipping fan fiction that people know me for before they knew me for my music. And then now people know me for my chest hair and don't realize I'm a musician. I just can't win.
Wow. I don't want to. I'm not even sure I want to know why the chest hair supersedes your music.
It's because for my 1,000 subscriber thing on YouTube, my milestone, I did a fake little stripping thing where I took off my shirt to this crappy wub thing I made because I don't do electronic music at all, and I had Pinkie Pie before I was about to take my pants off come up and do that whole that humor thing.
That humor.
And then
thing
people started
from
making
Pinkie Pie.
GIFs of me dancing to various songs or YouTube videos, and so all of a sudden my chest hair became a thing. And for Unicon I shaved the Batman symbol into it.
Okay, there you go. Now we got Cyril chest hair. So people.
Oh, good. I'm glad. See, now we have the trifecta of awesomeness.
The triple C. It's like a triple H face for triple C.
The new Tomb face. No, I don't even think so.
All right.
Oddly enough. Yeah, sorry. I was about to tell you about a dream I had this morning.
Well, all right. Well, go ahead, Cyril. What's the dream?
I had a dream that Tomb and I were secret agents for some reason. And we were facing off. We were seriously being attacked. It was we thought we were done, but the mission wasn't. People started attacking us. We were stealthily hiding in this room. And I think he was under the carpet somehow, all cartoon and crap. And he had a cane for a gun. And I had a capo was my gun. It was a secret agent gun, but it was a capo. I don't even know how that would mechanically work. No, she wasn't, oddly enough. And then so we somehow killed the bad guys. We killed the bad guys, and it was have you ever played GoldenEye and turn on paintball mode? That's how it was. Seriously, I would shoot people and paintballs. They would die, but it would be paintballs. And so afterwards, we sojourned at this Israeli restaurant, and what woke me up was that I couldn't decide what to eat. The waitress was standing there, and I was all frustrated. I was I don't know what to eat. And I was trying to tell this, for some reason, this black woman named Lakeisha was sitting next to me. And yeah, right. And she and I was just throwing her, what should I eat? I don't know what to choose. And the waitress was sitting there giving me dirty eyes. And I woke up, I'm what? I'm never eating Chinese before bed.
Sandy, I woke up way too early for this.
And hey,
if it makes you feel any better, I woke up at 6:30 too because of it.
Okay. Well, Cyril, before we move forward, there is 2 questions I must ask you. These are 2 very important questions that we must ask everyone that goes on the show. Otherwise, the show collapses upon itself.
Oh.
So
I won't answer them.
So, oh no.
Oh man.
Oh, they figured out the way. It's the out clause on this episode. Goodbye, everyone. No, we have to know favorite character and favorite episode.
Oh, well, my favorite character is Princess Luna, Princess of the Night. And I still like Luna Eclipse. Sleepless in Ponyville being a close second, but Luna Eclipse is still adorable, and I watch it when I'm feeling sad. So,
hooray! Fellow a fan. Let's see if Tetra runs into the room yelling Luna at some point.
Yes, he has competition for his waifu.
Yeah,
I write songs about her. What does he do? Well, draws pictures. I don't know.
Oh well.
Draws pictures. Such pictures.
So many mouse pads. Yes, sponsor. Jeez, let's do this. Sponsor,
singular. We love fine. Use your coupon code Bronyville 10 to get 10% off your purchase.
Sandy, what
derpy scarves.
That's good. What happened to MLP Comics?
They still haven't updated it.
So you totally nixed them because I'm
look, and when you update your stock, I'll mention you again, but step up. Come on.
Front it.
Step up. Step up, bro. Step up.
All right, and then of course our other ones are gone. Yeah, we need more conventions.
Because the other one was
that other thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Other thing.
So let's go ahead and move this news well, of course it's news time. As normal with news time, I ask Sandy very important questions such as the current fire status of the fandom. In this particular thing, Sandy, on our patented fire scale, what are we currently at?
I would say we're down to smoldering.
Ooh, that's nice. Now, if you were to chart this week, starting at say Saturday, moving towards pretty much a full week, Saturday to Saturday, how would you have charted that?
Let's see. So last Saturday, we'd be going up towards sun.
Okay, so a little warm. Probably just rumbling.
And then Sunday, we found a new upper bound for this community's disaster reaction, and that would be Las Pegasus Unicon.
So above
that is above VY Canis Majoris. as on the scale. So it's the new upper bound. And then over the week, it has slowly cooled down as things have gone as they ought to have, and people are getting their money back. But we'll be back on that topic shortly.
You
were going to say
rated it as Canis Majoris. Like, wouldn't it be more accurate to make it as a supernova, considering how fast it's cooling and turning into a black hole? Because the fandom will never be the same again, or at least a neutron star. If we're gonna go with the space thing.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm a nerd. Because a lot of other fires in the fandom are like stars because they keep like being like, and they never really fully go away. This is actually like coming down, so that's why I'm thinking super. And like the black hole will be what is left of the con scene after it. I don't know. Just a suggestion. Well, okay, or at least a neutron star. It's still a functional being. It's just a gravity well.
Well, in any event, there's stuff that happened that wasn't Unicon or related to Unicon's relief effort.
I don't believe you, Sandy. You're lying.
Yeah. So there's a German Blu-ray. You might have missed it among all the fire.
Okay.
And not only is there a German Blu-ray, it's also region free and has English and stereo.
Oh.
It has a weird cover with a bunch of different vectors, including Super Forehead Twilight, the Season 1 Celestia, and everything else. Spike's on all fours, and for some reason, Rarity's wearing a dress that looks completely different than the other main six.
Generic Applejack. Fluttershy is looking up in the sky for no damn reason.
And her wings are missing. Yeah. Yeah, her wings are actually missing, it looks like.
So the outsides are misleading. The insides is what matters.
Yes, the inside is a Blu-ray of Season 1. And that's pretty cool. Hopefully, it says it's going to be released on May 2nd. And should be available for import fairly soon.
So just like any of those like weird people that go up on a reality TV singing show, they come up, look like they're complete schlubs off of the street, but the insides they actually have the heart of a winner.
Yes. That's totally how it goes.
Yes. All right, well that's cool.
On that same note, the season 2 of DVD sets should be coming out here fairly soon. Shout Factory was rather pleased with the sales of season 1, and they're like, "Hey, we should get on this this train." And so they're going to be releasing the season 2 DVD set soon. When? Soon. And that's about it.
Yep. Everyone's asking in the chat why there's beeping in the background. Yes, Starry is cooking breakfast.
What is she making?
She's probably just microwaving biscuits I made earlier.
Oh, okay. Because oatmeal's like my favorite
and
all-time
coffee.
breakfast.
Biscuits and coffee, the breakfast of champions.
Coffee.
There's
I'll have some biscuits.
More variant covers are out showing up for the My Little Pony comics. Both the regular series comic and the micro series. With link in the show notes, you can see that the Rainbow Dash one is an actual takeoff of a Frank Frazetta illustration, which I think is rather cool. All you need to do is go to Google image search, look up Frank Frazetta and Death. Death Dealer, I believe is the title of the image.
Death Dealer.
Yes, it is the second. Yeah, Death Dealer 2. So,
dang, that's dark.
But
yeah,
it's
a really awesome illustration. And I remember a friend of mine when I was a kid had a big poster of it, and I always thought it was really awesome looking. So
wouldn't that technically make Tank the Death Dealer?
Yeah, yes. Dash is the mount and Tank is the Death Dealer. With the hat, and instead of an axe, it's a banner.
Makes so much sense to me though. Like all Dash would have to do is like have him on fly by with him on his back, and it'd be like
that big old spike. Just drop him on somebody.
Exactly.
He'd be like one of those terrible shells in Mario you couldn't ever jump on.
Oh God!
It's
no!
The blue shell.
No, not even the blue one. The black ones with the single spike.
Yeah, in Super Mario World, like you had to do a spin jump on them, and you could only like bounce on them, and you can actually kill them. And like they always put them in like those awful Kaizo Mario ROM hacks where like
yes.
you know what I mean? They have them everywhere, so you have to like be impossibly good at jumping.
Yeah, you had the only way you could take them out is if you had a turtle shell.
Yes, I feel like finding a link with this thing.
Well, it's in the Google Doc, so take a look. Moving on, actual real news. Well, this is all minor news here. The real news.
Main 6 is dead.
Main 6 is dead.
Double dead.
Long live Main 6. So Main 6, as we know it, is dead. Dead. Double dead. In the ground. Skeletons. Spooky, scary skeletons.
Remember that game that you wanted to play where Applejack beat the tar out of Fluttershy? You're not going to play it.
Ever. And that makes me sad. But Lauren Faust, who clearly needs no introduction, has joined their team and will be developing new characters to help them make their fighting game dreams a reality. It will not have anything to do with ponies, and the characters are probably going to be humans of some sort. And so, yeah.
I'm actually cool with that, and only because like they were doing such a good job with that fighting engine that it'd be nice to see it come to fruition, because I was playing some of the demo and it was really fun.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's good to see that they're still sticking to it, but it is disappointing that they went on for so dang long and then just went.
Yeah, one thing.
Spiders Extreme Cease and Desist Edition.
Yeah, the one thing that people thought was that I heard might be a challenge. Of course, they're going to have to go in and modify all of the all the art assets, because anything that is pony related will have to be stripped out. Also, one thing that some people brought up is the move sets that are in there at this time are currently made for quadrupedal characters. So you kind of have to think that if they're going to save those, then they're going to actually keep the fact that the characters are on four legs. Yes, goats.
Yes, my little goat. You heard it here first, guys. Applejack.
Grapples. Just
whenever I think of goats, I think of the first scene of Thumbelina, where he's like the goat just like little squirt. I don't know. Yeah, that's right, Thumbelina.
Ooh, alpacas. That would work.
Oh yeah,
dude, alpacas are so awesome. Oh, I would be all over that. Sorry.
Let's just make a farm fighting game. It's all farm animals.
4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Yes.
Some fighters are more equal than others.
Oh God, yes. Let's tie this into Orson Welles. This will be great.
Yes, Animal Farm, the fighting game.
I want to play a snowball.
Don't play the horse. I heard the ending of that thing's pretty sad.
Oh God, it so is. And I saw the movie version, and they somehow made all the sad scenes even sadder. And I was like, no. That's how I cried.
Well, but they even changed the ending in the cartoon version.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the cartoon. They actually made a live action movie of it.
Oh, okay. I forget the live action.
Like once you get past the really cheesy puppetry, and there was some really cheesy puppetry, it was actually really well done. So,
but it's like Watership Down. It's for the kids.
Yeah, with Animal Farm. Yeah, I remembered seeing the cartoon, and the cartoon tried so desperately to actually have like a nice ending. So they were like, and then they revolted again. It's like, no, that's not how the book ends.
No.
So
I'm just thinking, it's like, what other depressing tales? Lord of the Flies, animated by Ralph Bakshi. No. Or, jeez.
I like your chat room.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. We've curated it for a while.
Some good stuff. All right, so here's the next thing.
Oh, cool. New things.
Hope your body's ready for this.
Okay, what is it?
You know that Equestria Girls image that popped up on, everywhere a few weeks ago?
Oh, yeah.
The a updated version of said image showed up on the New York Times, which means it is 100% herpaderp legit.
Ooh.
The first page, I need to fix the link because I actually did the link to page 2, talks primarily about Transformers and their new beast hunters. It's like they're doing Beast Wars again, but it's not quite the same. And I liked Beast Wars. It was pretty cool.
As long as they don't make it like Beast Machines. I don't think Beast Machines was very good.
No. But they talk about primarily Transformers, and all the various neck bears that enjoy Transformers. And then they talk about the neck bears that enjoy My Little Pony. And let the neck bear win. And there's just this tiny little image of to celebrate the 30th anniversary of My Little Pony. Hasbro plans a new extension, Equestria Girls, for the fall. And so it is a picture of the main 6, loosely, fairly similar to the image before. They are given slightly more dynamic posing, and they have cutie marks on their faces.
Honestly, not digging the anatomy on these.
The faces.
No. They're bratsified.
I mean, they're not as bad as brats, but because they don't have the disturbing lips, which I'm okay with. But they do have like way too long for like calves. Like if nobody has a calf that's big in comparison to their body.
Well, but that's how
really
they were,
ridiculous boots.
Yeah, it's the boots.
And it's really hard to tell. It's like, do they have tails, or does their hair just go down really freaking long and then is braided like a tail? I mean, you can see it on like the Applejack illustration and the Fluttershy illustration that, it's just for some reason their hair is long and then only partially ponytailed and extends way past, their feet into the floor.
Yeah, but then Twilight doesn't make sense because hers cuts off into a nice little like cut and then there's more.
Yeah.
It's the same thing for Rainbow Dashes. It's like, what?
It ends. And the two Pegasus, Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash have their wings. And Twilight has wings that are bigger. But she and Rarity don't have their horns. What is this? I don't even.
Well, my guess is that this was probably... So this is... akin to the vectors that are below them. I believe that this is probably concept art, and the images that we actually got leaked or put around earlier, actually I think, or hope, is a better representation of what will actually be on it, because I like them better.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it's just, the vectors they use there are their stock vectors. So that could be like early concept art, kind of like, the original My Little Pony group shot picture where Twilight doesn't have 4 legs. She just has back legs. She's like this little weird little worm thing standing.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So
so Hasbro's visual QC needs to step it up.
Oh, check out that link that some Brony Jr. put in. Also Big Mac.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Oh Lord. But the proportions are still better.
And
I mean, look at that. Those are actually if they made them all like that, I would dig that. That's fine.
I will still give it a shot. I mean, it's pony related, but I'm sure it's going to be all high school and boys and vapid bullshit.
I'll probably like it because I like iCarly. So,
wow.
Didn't hear what you said there.
You're a strong man there.
Making I'll have a story about that later. Continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the lines in the article is adult fans have also pushed to take more control of the brand, creating unauthorized digital games and plush toys that company executives eventually quashed.
Whoops. Sorry.
Yeah.
Or
Whatever.
bad. All right.
Now they're finally giving us the merch we want. Secondary market has less reason to go. And that's about it for the news.
Oh, good. I'm glad nothing else happened.
To that end, and during the break, we're probably going to expand to talk a little bit about the convention news. And this is like the worst dang week ever to be all like, hey, we've got a new site and we've announced this and that. But some cons are sooner than others, and they need to get their information out there regardless of the debacle they have just recently weathered. So, Buck, their site has gone live. If you're in the UK, you should check that out.
But Buck's at least gone before, so you don't have the danger of Buck is going to be like, suddenly mess up or something. Continue.
They are in August 23rd through 25th, 2013 in the UK. If you are interested, you can go take a look. Let's see. Galacon has added Annalie Heed and Acoustic Brony. They have run and they are solid. BronyCon has opened their vendor registration. All these links I'm mentioning are in the show notes. And odds are by the time you actually hear this on Wednesday, it'll probably be sold out. Then again, I don't know how...
it probably will be. I mean, even after the debacle... Just because of, even after the debacle, like, consider that they had the musicians submissions for that. Like, it's still BronyCon. They've got some cred. Like, it's not, I mean, despite how some people want to nix them, you know what I mean? So.
Yep. So it'll probably fill up pretty quick. Everfree Northwest, who have they even updated their website since last year? Let's take a look.
Everfree Northwest.
Need to go Northwester.
No, they still have ads for Equestria LA and Canterlot Gardens.
Woo!
September 28th through 30th, 2012. Be there.
Everfree, update your freaking website.
Yeah, and the next event's the same weekend as Anthrocon. So, like, half the artist people I know are just like, I'm going to go where the real money's at. So, we'll see about that.
Hey, man, I sold, like, a lot. I actually sold a lot of CDs at the con we're going to talk about in a bit. Continue.
Yep. Big Apple Pony Con announced Jason Thiessen. That is pretty cool. And the header image that they used was one of the pictures that you and I took while we were at Animation on Display last year, AC.
Oh, hooray.
Of him holding one of the bonbons that we got made.
I'm glad I can charge a royalty fee off of that one.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, it's per hit. And man, they can... There's so much money in Equestria Daily, let me tell you. So... That's really cool. Jason's a cool guy. And unfortunately, regarding Big Apple Pony Con, we will not be going.
No.
Unfortunately, some promises were made that in the wake of Las Vegas Unicon, a lot of the conventions are looking at their budget. And as a completely fair choice, a lot of cons are going to have to pare down on some of the stuff they promised. This is reasonable. And it's the natural bit of austerity that the convention scene is going to have to realize.
Yeah, to give just a little bit of ideas, we were told all three of us would be getting travel and lodging, which we at the time we were like, wow, that's
pretty cool,
generous. And then go ahead.
Unicon happened.
And it
was actually quite eerily similar. Well, let's not actually compare them to that because that's not fair.
Right.
But yeah, they made some promises that they couldn't keep, and they looked hard and fast at their budget and said, we can't do that. And I said, that's great because I've just spent a massive chunk of cash on medical bills and I can't afford to come if you can't afford to come for me to come. And they can't, so I'm not going.
Yeah, and I mean, I've definitely... It's one of those things that when a convention says something like that, it's always something that they offer, and it's just kind of like, are you sure you want to offer that? Okay. And then later on, it's one of those things of just like, now, this is what you said earlier, right? And it's like, oh, well, somebody else said that, we can't do it. And it's like, okay, that's totally understandable.
That's why I usually get things in contract. But then again, I'm a butt like that.
Yeah.
Well, this was stuff we had in writing. So.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
You know, tis happens sometimes, unfortunately. I mean, that's kind of the similar thing with Canterlot Garden a while back, as some stuff was arranged and then rearranged. So
as long as they tell you beforehand, that's really my big thing. Just tell me beforehand so I know.
It just always seems to happen after we've had them on our show to promote their event.
That's bizarre. So what about SandyCon? What's going on over there?
So, Nightmare Nights Dallas, aka SandyCon. It's not SandyCon. It's just one that I am helping run.
It's Sandy's Con. SandyCon.
Yes.
Not SandyCon, but Sandy.
The worst thing is that I, Chef Sandy, have had my name sullied.
Oh yeah.
By this other person. And it's like everyone was griping it and spelling it with the Y. And so like I changed my Skype name over the weekend so I wouldn't keep getting pinged as people were complaining. So Nightmare Nights Dallas, November 8th to 10th, 2013 in Addison, Texas. The website's up. The website's launched. It's not the fanciest website in existence, but that's what I get when I learn to code WordPress in like a week. But it looks good. It's nice and clean design. We have a charity, and we actually have voice talent. And this is the deal, right? So we got our contracts all lined up, and we sent them off to be signed. And we said, all right, well, I'm going to be out in Vegas this weekend. I'll let you know when I'm done after Vegas. Then Vegas happened, and we like crap our pants because it was a terrifying week, let me tell you. But as of yesterday, we have the contracts back and signed, so we will be having Andrea Libben, Brenda Critchlow, and Peter New, and James Wooten, as well as a couple other people. We'll be adding no more voice actors because we're not going to overextend ourselves, but we will be adding some people from DXX if things go well. And hopefully some community people as well. But since this is a first-year event and we're aiming to be mid-size at most, we're not going to make any promises we can't keep. Bob and I are many-year veterans of running conventions, and as such, we know where budgets should and should not go.
Yes.
We already have our hotel block available, and it is up until 10/17, so October 17th. We have our policies in place. We have our registration with what you get. We have our out-the-door pricing already set, and the vendor registration will go live on the 16th. And if you're listening to this on Wednesday, the actual registration for attendees should have gone live. I'm having a meeting with my board of directors tonight, and we'll be getting our nonprofit PayPal set up. So, and it's just one of those, we were so ready and we had flyers and all this stuff and all this horrible, terrible, bad stuff happened, and we're not going to announce against it.
No, that's a smart idea.
So the website very quietly went live. The website very quietly went live like last weekend because we had flyers out and people could go look, but we weren't sending out anything major to the sites, and we won't until we actually get the registration live. But it's a thing, and it's going to happen, and we'll be working with the other conventions in our region to help make it a good-sized event. Oh,
Sandy, what have you done? You've done it again. You're doing another convention.
I know. I've already done a convention first. I did a convention last week, and it went really well. So I figured, why not do two?
Because that's a bad idea.
You're a mad pony.
Yeah,
you lost your mind.
I agree. I've run a couple conventions, and I promised myself I wouldn't do it again unless there was actually some like really, really good reason. So
I do it because I love ponies.
Oh, okay. I guess that works.
Because ponies.
So,
okay,
maximum over pony.
So Sandy, I'm gonna do a really good segue here, right? So
yeah.
I'm looking at your registration fees, and I'm not seeing some stuff that I'm used to seeing. I'm not seeing any like bits, or I'm not seeing any pony bucks. I'm not seeing rooms. I'm not seeing there's not a huge $4,000 package here. That's something I was kind of used to at a convention I went to recently. Tell you what, let me tell you about Unicon.
Yeah, let's talk about Unicon.
I need a drink.
Get yourself a drink and AC will get started.
Yeah, the best joke to come out of all of this is like I think B. Hammy said it was just like, well, after everything has happened, you can pretty much guarantee that this is the sunglasses last unicorn. Yeah, it was pretty much like that. I
prefer Titanicon.
So how do we want to do this? Do we want to go to just the general meat of the sinking ship? Do we actually want to tour the Titanic first? Do we want to watch the maiden voyage and everybody wave, or do you want to actually start at the iceberg?
I would say let's talk about your experiences at the con, because you've been sick all week and I haven't heard a single bit about it. And I've read a couple accounts and I kind of know how it's going to go, but I want to know how your experiences were.
I know it's
because, we know that you're a hero of Unicon and for what you've done.
Well, why? Thank you.
One of them.
Okay. Well, let me. So it's such a multi-layered thing. I was actually trying to figure out how to put all these pieces together. So let me start with this. Let me just do the base of the trips. Starry and I left the San Francisco Bay Area early Thursday morning. We got to Vegas right around about 7:30 in the morning. Ended up getting to the Riviera at about 8 in the morning. Went to the front counter, said, "Dear God, can we check in?" And they said, "Actually, for $20 you can do just that." We took it, went upstairs, and took a nap. So that was part of our day. Then we went, I tested equipment, found some stuff missing, went to a Radio Shack, and that's pretty much all I can sum up for my Thursday. Rather uneventful. Though I met up with some people and had a pretty good time. So Friday, for the most part, I was working, and I was working pretty much in the back end with Celestia Radio the whole convention. Having a good time with those guys. Finally have a remote setup that I think works. Sandy, you'll be happy to know, next time that we do an event, you don't have to hold a microphone like we were when we did the tabletop, because I got nice little lapel mics now that just attach to you, and you don't have to like try and be close to a mic while we're doing silly dice rolls and stuff like that. I got it done. It's fantastic. I love it.
Those lapel mics were nice.
I know, they were great. I loved them, and they still got a bit of background noise, but it was kind of endearing.
Yeah.
What was it, Sandy?
Oh. All right, so Weaver, right? We you have the reveal of the Equestria Girls thing. His Ask Ice Pack tumbler, which is has a little bit of adult humor, but it's not adult in and of itself. I just linked it into the chat, and I'll link it in the show notes as a cool thing, because it's probably the funniest dang reaction I've seen to this Equestria Girl reveal.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, that's pretty terrible.
If you know anything of mercy,
you will end my life. When the police find our bodies, they will not know what to think.
All right. Well,
Sorry.
Sandy, so interested in my story.
Sorry.
So to kind of move on, that was Friday. Worked with Celestia Radio. Trying to think if there was anything much that I did. There was recalling back, there is an event Thursday that I'm going to reference a little bit later, just story wise. To kind of explain kind of some of the changes that happened after Unicon happened. So Saturday occurred, decided to push the podcast to Sunday just because we were late getting up, didn't have doc, didn't have users, and Saturday was the really big day on the schedule. And so I was like, well, I'll have better chance getting guests on Sunday, so I might as well go ahead and push it to then.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, really. I mean, Sunday seems like a perfect day to do that. Now, to give you a little bit of an idea of, of how we were feeling, and Cyril could definitely attest to this. I went down to the floor several times. My main number one spot was going over to Andy Price's table and harassing him constantly because, goddamn, I love his comic. And he is such a cool guy. He is a great guy. He has him and M.A. Larson have the best sense of humors. Like the best, ooh, you guys are kind of dark and willing to go some really weird places. And that's just absolutely great. But the number one thing I noticed, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit in the pre-show, was the place was dead. Like Friday it was dead. Saturday it was pretty much dead. And I had been in this, and we had been talking to Sandy for a while, and I recalled her going well, what's the traffic you're hoping to, what's the number you're hoping to get here? And she was like, I'm looking at about 3,000 to 4,000. I was like, whew, okay,
that is not a small number. That is a big number.
That's BronyCon number. And I'm like, whoa, okay, well, and this is Sandy with an I, who was the convention chair, was stating yeah, well, I got a really good deal with the Riviera, and it's going to be a great place. Vegas is a really nice, fun place, and for the most part, just all right, well, if you say you're on the up and up, and I mean, pretty much, if you give the assurance that you've got everything covered, then why not? Sounds fine. And just to state, under our particular deal, of course, Chef Sandy could not come. Starry and I were going to come. We did have a comped room, as well as my part of the flight, not Starry's, was to be comped for travel. So those were the agreements that we had. Saturday happens. It's relatively light. Actually, let me remember. On Saturday, one of the reasons we couldn't do a show is that Starry and I went to the Wynn and had the ridiculous $100 breakfast brunch buffet with champagne. Oh, it was
really?
It was amazing.
It was good. Okay, good. I didn't leave that hotel the entire weekend.
It was expensive, but it was one of those things I'm in Vegas. I'm going to go have a $100 brunch for two, and it was just
okay. So it's $100 brunch for two. It was $100 each. I'm like,
holy.
No.
Yeah.
It was roughly with tax and everything $125 for the both of us, but it was all you could eat, anything off of the buffet, and the buffet was fabulous. Just anything, anywhere, and it was unlimited champagne, mimosas, whatever you wanted. They just keep pouring them. So, I kept posting pictures of these two gorgeous blondes showed up, and it was two mimosas that were on the table, and I was like, everybody was like, well, don't worry, they leave pretty quick. I'm like, don't worry, more keep coming to the table. So,
hey. I got to tell you what, AC, you come to Dallas a couple days before Nightmare Nights, and we'll go hit Blue Mesa. Actually, they do their Sunday brunch. I don't know.
Well, we'll figure stuff out.
We'll figure something out.
I overdid it Friday night, so roughly half of Saturday was spending recovering, and then the other half was rehearsing.
So Saturday night happens, and I'd already been talking to Dusty Cat pre-con because I was interested. I was interested to try and fix things up a little bit between our show and Everfree Network.
We're trying to play nice.
Yeah, and there had been some stuff thrown around, and I was kind of at the point of just going you know what? Let's smooth stuff over. And I said, I'm going to go even further into detail on this in a little bit. So he invited us to a party, and I was like, he's like, it's kind of formal. It'll be up here in my suite. Look forward to seeing you there. I'm like, thanks a ton, Dusty. He's Dusty Cat is a complete pro. I love the dude.
Yeah, Dusty Cat's amazing. He's amazing. I can't even.
yeah. He's an awesome guy. So we go up. Well, first off, we didn't go to the celebrity dinner because we didn't pay for that. Starry was actually really, really wanting to have a very good French dinner. So we went to the Paris casino and went to one of the restaurants there, had another $100+ dinner. It's killing you there, Cyril, isn't it?
I'm sorry. I'm just so poor and I love food. So all I did was go to the Pepper Mill and have pastrami burgers, which were amazing. But still, I'm like, gastronomy. Anyway.
So yeah, we had some steak and I had steak and frites. Starry had it too, but she had a filet mignon, and also had an order of escargot, which I still do not. Starry likes it. I was still kind of like, it just tastes like rubber.
It's one of those experience foods. Just say, yeah, I've totally had escargot, and now you never have to eat it again.
I didn't go to celebrity dinner, but I wish I was, just because M.A. Larson and Hey Last Fast were slingshotting marshmallows at people, which I just find to be an amazing thing.
Well, I understood that there were a lot of good and a lot of bad things that came out of that dinner, which can be addressed later. There's there's so much to address.
I'm sorry. I just feel like interjecting is the best way, because I don't like me retelling my story would just be repetitive. No.
We'll definitely get into and I am curious, just the differences or the stuff that you hit, Cyril, from your bit. So we can hit that. Because we're about to get to the red letter day.
Yes, the iceberg approaches.
So I will be right back before the iceberg.
So we did the French dinner, came back, and then proceeded to immediately go up after getting some equipment, immediately going up to Dusty's party, and it was one packed and two amazing, like just packed full of everyone that you could have wanted. Andrea Libman, Daniel Ingram, Amy Keating Rogers, Lita Carr, like everyone, pretty much all the staff minus Tara Strong and John Delancey were there. And a bunch of the Everfree Network guys were there. Dusty and Carowin were the two that were running it, and it was a very suit tie. I came in with a nice button-up shirt, so I didn't look like I had just rolled out of the street. Starry was wearing a nice dress, so it was a very nice, formal, still a little noisy, but it was a very jubilant atmosphere. And then Mike the microphone proceeded to come in with a big, sparkly, gaudy jacket, and being like the microphone was pretty good. And let's see. And then the EQD crowd filtered in. So after a while, we had pretty much most of the news outlets in there, minus Derpy Hooves News and Round Stable, I think, were the two that weren't in that actually weren't in the party by the time it started.
It begins.
So here's going to be a little bit of detailing of some very inside baseball stuff that happened at that party. First off, there's a big send off of just like, hey, Dusty Cat brought some people forward, said, hey, we're having birthdays, did a birthday thing. Mike went up, like had this big celebration, and the party went on for a little bit of while. And then all of a sudden, Lita Carr stood up and went, excuse me. Any of you that are part of the Brony media, could you please come into this other room for just a little bit?
Uh-oh.
And we were just like, okay. And just like, and so he leads us all into pretty much what is the penthouse, like bedroom, because there's the main room and then there's the bedroom. And of course, all of us was joking, just like, Lee's gonna murder us. This is it. He's gonna solidify his control over the fandom and just do us all in one good go. We're completely joking about all this. And so in that room was myself, Starry, as stated, was outside. She's getting very drunk. Pretty much all of the staff that I knew of from EQD that was there, most of the staff for Everfree Network was there. One individual from Celestia Radio was there, and I'm hoping I'm not missing anybody right offhand. No, if I am, I'm sorry. And to add to that, there were 3 agents, if not 4 agents, Lee Takar, and some other individuals that I'll keep on the offhand just to be as a safety reason. So he brought us all in the room and he stated, "Hey guys, listen, I'm not going to kill you. That's good. Of course, I wish we all chuckled." He's like, "But we do have a problem. The convention is out of money. To the tune of, and he gave
a large number.
A huge number. Which I assume somewhere
it's not public.
I'll say somewhere between the ballpark. Yes, there's not a public number, but it was the entirety of the amount owed to the VAs, in addition to the amount that was still owed to the Riviera, which was easily a really, really, really nice car. So, to give you an idea.
Possibly a down payment on a house.
Probably a down payment on a house.
In California.
Yeah. It depends where in California, but I digress. So he brings us in there and he's like, "Listen, we've got this problem. There's this money. We know for a fact, and we've talked about this on the show for a fact, that in some ways Hasbro is looking for the reasons they can use to try and distance themselves from the fandom. There are parts of Hasbro that adore us. There are part of Hasbro that doesn't like the fact that we are here. And any ammunition that can be given to Group B needs to be taken care of as soon as possible. The number one way that could be done is by proving that these fan-run events can't hold obligations and, pretty much send their talent that are supposed to be working on the show and working on things, sending them to places and pretty much squandering their time and their money. So it was a very, very, very tense situation because Lee pretty much came to us and said, I need to know exactly what we need to do. I'm coming in here not like I have a plan. We need to make a plan. And we literally and that was it. It was just like, all right, you guys are the best and the smartest in this community. What are we going to do? And I think we were all just there shocked for a while, just going like, wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Just completely just taken back by one, the fact that it's just like there is this much money that is missing. 2, that that this happened. 3, that we are going to have to be the instruments that gets it. And 4, that their time frame is a day.
Yeah.
It was one of these points where it's just like, if the fandom decides to melt itself off, and it had to be by our hands, the media's hands that did it, this would be it. This was our chance to make or break or, whatever would become of the fandom. So ideas started to get tossed around. Of doing drives and pulling together resources, and this is what I say to my part, and I'm going to try and make this not come off like I'm gloating. It never comes off like I'm gloating. Like I'm not gloating. Crap. Sorry. Okay. So my involvement in the room was some ideas were starting to get thrown around, were starting to get floated, and everything was being thrown around as a nice idea, but nobody was keeping track of any of it. So the first thing I did after starting to listen to people start to roll this idea, roll that idea, was I just looked to the table, found a notepad, asked for a pen, and went, okay, start giving me ideas. And I literally, I turned into, you could call it secretary or you could call it organizer, because anytime that it happened, it'd be like, all right, so what are we going to do? Well, what if we knock down the price of the autographs to $10? Done. Autographs $10. What about for the autograph vouchers that were 20? We could make those 2 for 1. All right, done. 2 for 1 for any of the vouchers. And we just started banging out and putting down this list of just like, all right, let's do this. Let's do this. This is what we're going to do. What about for this situation? That situation will do this. The term overextended was one of the first things that we put down. We can't say that they lost money. We can't say this or that. We will simply say that there's an overextension of funds. And that pretty much, so much stuff was hammered out in that room in what I would guess to be about 45 minutes to an hour, which was pretty much the game plan for how all of Las Pegasus was going to eventually happen. And it was both kind of one of the more hair-raising moments I've ever had in this fandom, and in a weird way, kind of one of the more amazing moments, seeing all these groups that sometimes squabble and don't get along just kind of band and go, okay, we got to get we got to get things done now. So that all wraps up, and we come out with pretty much a plan. The game plan is two-pronged. First is to start with the first prong is tomorrow we're kind of taking over the con. We're going to be dropping prices for all these things to try and recoup costs so we can at least pay the agents, because that is the most important thing. And then move forward to, if that does not meet the amount that we need, through online donations as well as the funds that are made at the convention that day, we'll move on to a phase 2, which is selling things online and doing a donation drive that way. As you can see, both of those 2 prongs have happened and are working at this time.
And by the time this goes live on Wednesday, will actually be over.
Yep. As of 3 p.m. Pacific, that will be over on the Las Pegasus. Las Pegasus. Yes. So yes, let me get into that. So that's only the tip of the iceberg. Because this is still Saturday night. I knew about all this stuff Saturday, having to sleep on it when the world was going to shatter the next day.
And I was at home sleeping.
Sound.
And I was invited to Dusty's party just since I was invited to Dusty's party, but I was entertaining other people and smoking a cigar, so I didn't end up making it up there. And it's really funny that you said that happened at his party, because I actually was Dusty in that group in Lee Tokar's room, or was Dusty still just hosting the party when that happened?
I believe he was in the room. Yeah, he was in the room starting.
Because I texted him at like 2, just like, is your party still going? Because I had just finally gotten everybody in my group, who are all underage, like corralled into a room so they could have some fun, without having to worry about being in a bigger party room where there was alcohol flowing and potential litigation. So, I spent some time doing that just because it was my responsibility, and I have a lot of underage friends, unfortunately. Like all of the musicians who came to Las Vegas, except for me, Yorubi, Brony, Mando, and Mike, were underage. just to give you guys an idea of how that was. So I ended up being the guy who was like, okay, well, you guys are underage. Those who didn't have parents with them, it was like, okay, well, let's, let's go and do things of be of age and whatnot.
They are like babies.
Yeah, exactly.
Small.
So I was babysitter Cyril to a certain extent. Not really, because I mean they were old enough to be people. They just weren't 21, which is
I don't remember. Do you have to be 18 or 21 to gamble?
You have to be
In
21
Vegas.
to gamble. You have to be 21 to gamble. But the Riviera was pretty friggin' lax because apparently, like, you could, like, the food court was on the other end of the gambling casino. And so, routinely, younger people would be walking through. Anyway, but basically, it's just really funny that happened at Dustin's party because at 2 a.m., I texted him and was like, hey, is your party still going? No, it kind of fizzled out. And it's like, oh, well, I expected that, but... and I go to sleep not knowing anything, wake up, and for the first half of the morning, since I always wake up at about 7 a.m., since I'm East Coast time anyway, I just went down to the vendor hall. But now it's back to you because I just caught myself up.
No. You're good. So that kind of gives your idea on that. If I have to take a guess, the happenings that happened probably was about 11.
Oh, okay.
Would you say it was 11, baby?
Well, by the time we left, it was past 12.
So yeah, so that was probably about the time 11 to midnight was the period of time that
so
happened.
I was still playing a concert then. I was still up on stage rocking out to like 30 people. I think that was about as many as that were there. It might have been even less than that. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the approximate time I would put to that. So that happens, and immediately we leave and we've got a game plan. And the game plan was pretty much this. There was a two-pronged approach. Myself and some of the EFN crew, which included 8-Track. There was 8-Track. Brush and Bones. I'm trying to remember. Brush and Bones, I think, is probably it. We went up to the EFN den with some writers, which is all I will say, to try and hammer out the language, the verbiage that was going to be used the next day for the press releases. Starry was very nice and was helping out with some of the writing and just making sure that the verbiage for it was going to be correct once we actually filled her in. She was quite unhappy to leave the party, I will say.
I was still drinking my third drink. I was getting a good buzz on you. I was like, oh.
She was having such a good time. She was finally getting happy. I had to rip her away from the party, and she was so ticked at me. And I was just like, sweetie, we gotta go. We gotta go. Like, this is serious. We gotta go. And she's just like, what's so serious? I have to stop drinking.
I did not say that. I did not say
Well, you were kind of like that. But you went with me, and then I explained it on the walk, and you went, it sunk in real fast.
Like, oh.
Yeah, really, really quick. You sobered up and just went like, okay, serious time.
Yeah, I had a buzz, and then the buzz was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how that can happen when you're like relaxing and all of a sudden it's like,
Yep.
when you need it.
I'm suddenly alert now. It's amazing what adrenaline can do.
Exactly.
So we were up at the EFN den. Starry was helping with the writing, and myself, Brush and Bones, and I said, if that's the wrong name, I'm so sorry about that. It's just, I'm flaking right now, and I still am sick, so whatever. And 8-Track, yes, were tasked to go into another room and come up with the world's most difficult problem, making a Twitter hashtag. And it was difficult because we're sitting there and we're trying to come up with something that is time specific, location specific, explains what it is, but isn't trying to like, doesn't sound too serious, but can be serious enough. You know, there's a lot of factors that we got to put into this that gives it just the right connotation but has just the right flavor to it. It was a really hard task, and we were just doing like, Yeah, we were hitting the thesaurus. We were doing like help, aid, pega, aid. No. We were just going like unica. No, that's already taken. Like we were doing all this other stuff, and we kind of just ended up hitting all these things. And one of the words that came out was assist. And I was just like Las Pegasus, and pretty much both of them look up and went, "That's pretty good." It's like, that is pretty good. So I got up, walked, went over into the other room and went, "Hey guys, Las Pegasus." And all I heard was, "Nice." So I was like, all right, I think we found our Twitter word. We found
job, AC.
We found our hashtag. I'm 2 for 2 for hashtags that go crazy. All I have let me go down as the individual that can make hashtags. And heck, I even talked to M, and he stated that Final Draft, he actually has a sound clip of Final Draft saying, "And Apple Cider, man, can he just make hashtags?" I was like, well, there we go. My life signed up. I can make pound some word work in Twitter.
You can really pound those words.
Yeah, really. So, after it's about 2:00 in the morning at this point, I finally get the hashtag, finally get the verbiage down. It's time to try and go to bed. And after a bit, it finally happens. And then I'm woken up by a cell phone at probably 9 in the morning from DJ Shamrock, who's been filled in on everything at this point from the guy that was there from Celestia Radio. And we get ready. It's game time. And everything's set to hit at 11, because 11 is the time that the VA panel is set to go. And that was just the unified time, 11. Everyone breaks it directly at 11. And so we did that. The word got out, and it was strangely quiet. If you looked at the Equestria Daily post, there was maybe 12 comments on it. It was it was just kind of like, huh, that's
really weird.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, I got posted and I'm sitting there, and maybe an hour or two later, I'm talking to Shamrock, and I'm like, I hope this does it, because I don't hear a lot of anything coming out of it. We do our show, and Cyril could probably state for that. From 11 onward, it wasn't until maybe about 2:00 that stuff really started to kick up, right?
Yeah, that was pretty much like, I was in the vendor hall from 8 to 11:30ish, maybe 12. I think it might have been, no, it was actually, it was around 1, because Celestia Radio originally was going to have me play at their panel, but things didn't pan out, probably because everybody was worried about that, because the media was in on that. And so I was like, oh, hey, guy who's happened to be with me, let's go get some lunch, because I'm hungry. I go get some Quiznos. I see Calcos and Travis, Your Beat Odyssey, just talking. DJ Calcos from Celestia Radio. And I'm like, oh, let me get some Quiznos. And they apparently want me at the Skybox. I'm like, oh, let's go to the Skybox. Just sit down, relax. I'm kind of hungry. Didn't hear about anything. Calcos suggested something. We kind of need to hurry. There's something going down. I'm like, okay, not really sure what's going on. And we finally get to the EFN Skybox after we get stopped a bunch of times, and I'm like, on the way back, I'm hearing, okay, so Khan's out of money, overextended. Okay, what does that mean? And I'm just sitting there trying to relax for a second. Because I was like, Calcos let us know that, oh yeah, musicians might be kicked out of their rooms because the Riviera was never paid. And I'm like, what? I have stuff in there. I need that room. And so I'm just like, you know what? I can't do this. You guys clearly have it handled, so I'm not going to worry about it. Things will be okay. It's not as bad as I can. Because that's before I heard any numbers. Like I just heard overextended, the marketing thing. Sit down. I have most of my guacamole infused turkey bacon sub.
Delicious.
And then I hear from sitting there with Travis Odyssey, and I'm like, I hear from Calcos. He's like, he finally drops the number. And I think it was. Can I say a number, or do I need to
Let's not.
Okay, so there was a. I can.
If you want to look around, you can find ideas of numbers.
You can get an idea of the number. As I said, this was probably the down payment on a really nice car number. Not as I don't think it was as big as the initial one you heard, but there was a number that was given, and
that's mainly because there's several different deficits going on at the same time.
Right. So one number I was given, and I just apparently Calco says I looked about ready to strangle 5 different people. And I'm not an angry guy, but I have a 4-year degree in business. So when I hear a number like that as a deficit, I'm like, what? What? Just beside myself. And so I'm like, I can't eat this. I never actually finished that sub. I was going to come back for it, but I never finished this sub. Put it down. I'm like, turn to the Odyssey. And I'm like, we need to go and take care of some things. I give Tarby a call because he was in my room. We need to get your stuff up to, and I think we were bringing it up to Celestia Radio's room. We need to get your stuff. And the guy who was with me was twitching. He clearly was not handling this stress. I'm like, okay. I just dude, you can go back to your room. You paid for your room. This doesn't, just relax. We'll take care of everything. He clearly wasn't. I called some other friends who were Sweet and Elite members. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, but you may be also screwed. You know what I mean? And just kind of trying to arrange something where everybody's in a good position in case the Riviera decides to drop something on us. I don't know, because I didn't know what was going on, because I heard something about the con center was being shut down super early, but not anything about the rooms. And I never really knew, in retrospect, yeah, they probably wouldn't have taken the rooms because of the way room reservations work. But at this point, I was not willing to put it past anybody, and I was kind of tired. And so I just get back to my room. And I was by myself for a good 3 minutes, which was a bad decision because I actually broke down, worried the crap out of my fiance because I give her a call. I'm like, hun, I'm not having a good time. My phone wasn't working either, so all she got was a silence thing first. And then
desperate calls from Vegas, not the best to hear.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, and she's like, are you okay?
They're gonna take my kidneys.
I was literally in tears. I don't cry very much, but that just hearing that number and hearing what was going on, and the fact that I was in Vegas, I honestly if it weren't for this con, I probably would never ever find myself in Vegas. It was something I never wanted to do. Seen too many movies like The Hangover. You know what I mean? And I was thinking I already had a huge hangover. I was like, well, the movie is super accurate for me right now, except not quite as extreme, but if you take the movie and scale it down, that's Vegas. It's really funny how it still relates.
It was terrible. Whoa. It was literally I was sitting after everything and went down. I was sitting with a bunch of people in the food court going it feels like we're hiding from the hotel we're in. This feels like one of those Vegas movies where things go crazy.
Exactly. So, I mean, I got my friends. We took everything up to the Celestia Radio penthouse. Fortunately, in the same tower. If it was in a different tower, I probably would have lost it. Mostly because how do you hide that when you have to bring it across the hotel? But yeah, it was ridiculous. It was just we were we need to band together. Fortunately, they didn't take our room and anything else, but it was just that's when the chaos really hit it. It was around 2:00. That's when Calcos dropped the number on me, when I was oh crap, and just beside myself, just wandering around carrying heavy instruments, trying to arrange things, trying to keep Calligraphy, the musician coordinator, quiet, calm down, because she was not handling it well at all. She wanted to have Sandy's head, not Chef Sandy Adeo's head.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, she she's a very good organizer, but I think like the stress of it just was too much because she also, had a lot of money on this, and there was just a lot of stuff that happened all at once.
So,
and
it really was about 2:00, as you said. That's when I think the word started to get out. It started to filter. People started to make movements that caused other people to go, well, wait, why are you doing that? And then the word started to spread. And then the information started to hit the dealer's den, where where the dealer's den was, hey guys, actually, we understand we're gonna need to make sure that this place is completely empty by 7. So gonna have to close the dealer's room early. There was some grumbling. That was fine. Cue about 30 minutes later. And at this point, let's say it's maybe 3:30. There's a new message that comes out that goes, guys, this room has to be empty at 5 or the hotel is taking everything in it.
That got people moving.
I have never seen vendor breakdown that fast. I have been going to conventions for 10 years and have never seen vendors just literally stuff everything into a bag and bolt to the door as fast as possible.
And actually, the friends of mine who I called up to my room were apparently like trying to get other vendors to help other vendors so everybody could get out of there fast enough. Because I didn't get back to my room, I don't think, until like 3-ish. So like this all happened. This is really funny because this is all happening at once. And like, it's just so. Oddly enough, though, that morning I sold like all of my CDs, so I actually did pretty well. But could continue.
Mm-hmm. So that starts happening. The general, I guess you could say. I suppose you could say it was panic at that point. I didn't feel like it was panic because I already knew what was going on around me, but I think it was finally settling into the masses around me of just like, this con's going under. Oh, like it was almost just like, this is amazing to watch. Like my job had been done. All of our equipment had been put away because the moment that they said everything had to be cleared out at 5, like that was for the skyboxes too, where all Celestia radio's equipment is. So we were actually thinking about like putting up and moving our stuff. But the moment we heard 5, I went, nope, into the bag. Like, this is all getting packed up. And it was just kind of crazy because once everything closed down, the only thing that was remaining was there was 2 things going on. The charity auction, which Dusty Cat was running, and the signature room where somebody
paid $50 for a banana that was signed by Dusty Cat just to help raise money.
Wow. Yeah, I know I probably spent upwards of about $100 because now I have a My Little Pony DVD, the first DVD that came out, that's pretty much signed by everyone. Like, everyone except for Andrea Libman and... I have Andrea, sorry. Everyone except for Ashley Ball and Tara Strong. It's got Delancey, it's got Lee, it's got everyone on there. I didn't get Zakora. I need to get Zakora. I can get her at Nightmare Nights Dallas. Yay. See?
Yay.
But yeah, that was crazy just being in the signature room because they were just like, it felt like a madhouse. It was just like people running all over the place, lots of noise, just like the people at the table just didn't want to be there. You know, the only people that seemed to like really be smiling and enjoying themselves was mainly Michelle Krieber, because she was hanging out with Mando and Sibsy behind the scenes, and John Delancey seems so mad at everything.
Everybody, towards the end of the day, everybody seemed a little bit mad.
Oh.
Some a lot mad.
Oh, man.
So I mean, it's
I was personally and professionally offended by the way that it was handled. So I was so mad. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, just because I went to school for business. So hearing how misbusinessed, yes, that was
That's a
handled.
word.
Business.
It is now. It was just like I was so like what? Like, how do you even? You know what I mean? Like, ugh.
Yeah. So to go ahead and wrap up my story, and then you can fill in your blanks there, Cyril.
Okay. Sorry.
I had the benefit on that particular Sunday, and Starry gave me crud about this before going, but we decided that I when I booked it, I was like, you know what? Let's just leave late Sunday. Let's just leave really late Sunday. Don't have to be there in another room. I'm sure I'll be sick of Vegas by then. Don't have to worry about that. So we were already out of our room before the meltdown even occurred. So we were lucky, got out of there late. Our flight was delayed because Spirit Airlines is a bad airline.
Don't fly Spirit,
Oh,
kids.
man.
It wasn't a bad airline, but there was delays because of
Yeah,
the snow.
well, it was just... I also thought the plane was icky. It was pretty icky. And let's see. We flew out, we got home, and then I proceeded to get the flu somehow.
Probably because of the icky plane.
Yeah, or something like that. No, a bunch of people have been getting the flu after this con. That's
Oh.
actually been the con crud. It looks like it's been going around a little bit.
See, I managed to block that somehow, and I don't even know how, because the stress that was caused by this con should theoretically have made me ill. If I get ill right before Cloudsdale Con, I'm going to be very angry.
So, all right. So that's pretty much my sum up there. Cyril, what was your final that once the panic set in?
Well, as I kind of filled it in, because like the panic, since everything happened at the same time. I mean, I just basically told you what happened with me, but it was like, you know, toward the end of it, I was basically like, just like, no, this has gone on. I need booze. I need to sit down and super relax, because this high tension, I'm not gonna do well. Like I was like beside myself. I could feel my like self breaking out a little bit. You know, like because I didn't have it nearly as bad as other people, but the way I think about things is I like need to step in, and I was just so bad trying not to, because there was already so many people working to make everything work, that if I was to try to step in beyond just basically making sure people were doing things properly, like getting instruments out of the con space and everything else, I would just be, probably not helping. But I managed to help coordinate like some of the musicians and stuff and everybody to get, where everything's going, get them out of their rooms if needed, because we weren't like, there was some misinformation going on in the chaos, unfortunately, but I was rather safe than sorry. I didn't know how the Riviera conducted themselves. I wasn't sure if, because the original card holder didn't have the money, what they would do. If they would just suddenly be like, yeah, by the way, because it was 2:00 and 3:00 is check-in. It would not have been impossible for them to be like, yeah, of course we booked you a room, random person who just came in. You can go ahead and go to 4622, which is where I was staying, and yeah, it'll be fine. We'll make sure it's clean for you. You know what I'm saying? Because of the time it happened, I was legitimately, I guess, frightened that I would not have a room and that my stuff would be taken by whoever, because it wasn't an impossible thought. Like in retrospect, it was a little illogical, but you didn't know because of how badly things were screwed up. I mean, this was, I guess I want to say it's a snafu, but it's not really a snafu. I mean, because this is not a situation normal. It was just a sfu, I guess. Or a safu, I don't know. But either way, like that was basically the meltdown. The rest of the con, I had a good time. Like I actually legitimately enjoyed the rest of the con, except for Saturday morning. Because Saturday morning I went up to Celestia Radio and was using those nice little lapel mics. The Celestia Radio, just chilling with Shamrock. And I went to the bathroom a couple of times to reappropriate my cider. And that was not a good experience.
Yeah, and you know what? That's one thing to say on this. I actually, if I could block out the terror that was those last like 30 hours, I actually kind of had a good time. The con was slow, but I think that, like, for instance, in my case, the streaming option that I had was the best that I've ever had it. The things went smoothly. I only had one kind of minor gaffe, which was just an XSplit problem. But otherwise that, like, it was nice having a crew that I could work with and that I didn't have to sit there and try and stream for an entire day. You know, it was actually working pretty well. I was meeting people. Dusty's party before, you know, the ball dropped. I was actually like meeting some people. Amy Keating Rogers and her husband are amazing.
I love Amy.
They are.
I met her at Midwestria, and like, she remembered me, and she didn't seem like too put off by me. But like, I had a few too many Guinnesses because they poured them correctly there, and I'm a big beer fan. So I was just like talking to her, and I ended up telling her like how me and my fiance met like for 30 minutes, and she was so patient and sweet about it. And I was like, I'm sorry. I owe you some wine.
She really is pretty great. So that was really neat. I also got to, you know, even in the crazy of it, inside of our bag here, I've actually got the contacts for a bunch of the agents. So, you know, I could have, you know, see if I could use the good graces of which we've gained to try and get, you know, John Delancey or Lita Carr or any of the other guests that we actually haven't had on the show. See if we can get them to actually appear, which would be great. And, you know, it was kind of a crazy time. To bring up the casino itself, on Friday I actually hit the slots and took $40 and made it 130. So yeah. I was like, we went back the next day and lost it all.
Yeah, see, I don't like slots. I didn't get see. It's really funny because me and a bunch of the other of age musicians and Celestia, a couple of guys from Celestia Radio, were planning on going and playing some like craps or something. We were going to do it on Sunday.
How'd that work out?
So I didn't actually end up gambling because I can't stand slot machines. So
yeah,
it's too like, I don't have enough control. I prefer having like the cards or the dice or something.
Yeah, I was just a little bit too intimidated to actually sit down at a table. So it felt better just like I know how to blackjack, you know, but it was just like the few things of like, oh crud, is this where I double or where I split? You know, freak out.
Oh yeah, I've always been a big fan of card games. Like children's card games, adult card games, doesn't matter. Card games.
You want a casino, shoots and ladders? Gotcha.
Yeah. No, hey, I had a nice little ring going when I was in elementary school of betting on like various things. Okay, I made some decent dough before I like found morality or something like that.
I'm not sure if you found it yet. I'm sorry. But yeah, I have to say the Michael Jackson machine not only gave me the big payout, but also was hilarious because every single time you hit a button, it was like, hee-hoo, come on, Chicago. It was just Michael Jackson songs, just noises the whole time. It was great. Come on,
I would have played that machine just for that. Like,
yeah, it pretty much was all that. Like I got a bonus and it started playing Beat It. And just slots just kept going. It was amazing. Just sitting here going like,
fantastic.
Like, oh, this is just tingling every like irony joke nerve in my brain.
I guess like every time I've walked past, like I was up late at night just walking past slot machines and seeing like people like off their rocker like smashed, just hitting the button like zombies. It was like really disconcerting for me to see. That's why I don't like slot machines. Because it's so easy to do that. At least you have to kind of have your wits about you for you know.
Oh yeah,
machines.
we for whatever reason we went to the Win, and I guess they were having some sort of competition with like people in their 60+ age bracket, and there were just these slot machines just absolutely filled with, you know, these retirees, and they're just sitting there at the slot machines hitting those buttons like they were about to like. It was like
they were about to die.
Hit each button like you're trying to get air. Like
Yeah, but that
press this button, like, get another hit of oxygen.
Yeah, I can't like that. Just, I mean, I don't know why we're discussing this, but like, that's just my view on slot machines. I it's just can't do it. Like, I thought about it a couple of times, but I neither had the money, and it's a good thing I didn't because of what went down on whatever. But yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's like I didn't even gamble and I lost money on Vegas. Fortunately, Las Pegasus. Good news is I actually have gotten the money I lost from my hotel.
So that brings up a good point. So from the two of us here, how much did you end up going out from stuff that was promised to you, Cyril? And
the funny thing is I didn't ask about the, like, I was promised 50 toward travel in the contract that I signed. I didn't ask for that from Las Pegasus because I thought it was just recooing would be fine. But if they have extra money, I'll see about it. But I lost about $231 just from that. And then, I was promised another 50. And there was actually other promises made, like donate, like just a party cannon that was going to like just be for fun to hopefully raise some money to get musicians recouped a little bit for their travel because it's not cheap to fly into Vegas. So that didn't even hit the table.
There were a lot of failed promises and a lot of things that are on the site still, though you can't see the link. But if you have the link to it, you can still see things like, oh, the banners will have your logo on it, and there's going to be hand sanitizer handed out, and there's going to be 5,000 con books printed out. We're expecting up to 8,000 attendees.
Yeah, that. So my particular, just to understand what our particular hit was, as I said, we were promised travel and travel for me and lodging. The travel bit, of course, I don't expect, so that's probably about $240 just for myself. Right. The room, cross my fingers here, has not hit me. For some reason. They took my credit card at the beginning, as I mentioned, when I was like, hey, I'd like to check in early. $20, here you go. I don't know if they were planning on using that as the incidentals, but nothing has hit it yet.
Okay, cool.
So that was kind of lucky, I think.
Yeah, I got a little lucky because actually Tarby picked up the last room night for me because otherwise it probably would have been more to the tune of 280. And I mean, I did have to pay $456 for the plane. So like, if you wanted to go about how much I technically lost, it's really bad. But like, I wasn't promised full comp for plane really. So I'll, but I still did, I'm out, $330. Like, it's just like, Yeah,
and I think for pretty much everybody at this point, conventions are going to be way less likely to offer stuff for community people until they can make sure that they're covering their voice actor and show staff guests.
Yeah,
that makes sense. And I just, I figured, at first, when I was first asked, I was asked like in October. So I was actually one of the first people signed on.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just one of those things where I was expecting, they're signing me on, so maybe they're hoping to make it a more fan-centric con, which is okay. Clearly not.
But not when you're trying to get 8,000 people.
Right.
You're trying to make it enormous.
I didn't hear that. I heard there was a cap of 10,000. I was like, oh, they just wanted to have a lot of space, which is okay because, I mean, Candlelight Gardens was like Sardine Con. So, having more space, I was dig, as long as they planned for a good number of people. I didn't hear that they were expecting that many. I just heard that was the cap. Okay.
So or go ahead.
I would have been a lot more skittish if I knew that they were planning for that many.
So let's do this, Sandy. Let's cut right here and talk about Las Pegasus, since it is what's going to happen,
or will be done by the time this is over, and it's a really cool thing.
Yes. So let's go into the specifics of, as my convention expert, since you are current staff of 2 conventions, may I mention? What happened here, Sandy?
Okay, so when it comes to conventions, first of all, they're not cheap to run. When it comes to cons like this, especially first-year cons, you're having to either take out loans or going to have to self-fund it. To do that, you make a bit of a gamble. Vegas ain't cheap. And Vegas is not a locale that is conducive to the largely under 21, it would seem, base for the show of the Bronies. So Vegas isn't exactly a good place for kids. What a surprise. And it's really, really expensive. So you have people that couldn't come because of the costs, people that couldn't come or wouldn't come because of the gambling and the prostitution and everything else. You had a perfect storm of fail ready to go. When it comes to voice actors come with a number of expenses. They have an appearance fee. You have to pay for the travel, and they are owed a per diem, meaning they get money to spend during the convention, so they can buy their own meals, etc. And each VA is between, in my experience, $1,500 to $5,000 plus travel plus per diem. And Las Vegas has had 22 of them. So you can do some math and extrapolate and all that fun stuff yourself. But they put forth an extremely large number of money out of nowhere forward onto the voice actors. That they expected that, well, if we have the more the merrier, that means more people will come, right? Because, draw is a linear progression. Straight up 45-degree angle. Let's go. And that wasn't the case, obviously. So all these people came on a bunch of promises. This happened to the community members too. This happened to the agents. That happened to the writers. This happened to everyone. So I think a lot of this is making the conventions look long and hard at their finances. And for some people, they're declaring it, this is the end of the commuter con. That conventions, back in the day when BronyCon Summer happened and 4,000 people showed up, that was the only option, right? That was the only con that was around, and 4,000 people showed up and capped that out. But now there's a lot of other options. There's Seattle, there's LA, there's the smaller cons. I think there's one in Arizona. There's a small one in Salt Lake. There's one in Sacramento. There's 3 in Texas now.
Yes, there's Fiesta Equestria, which is in Houston. And then a couple 100 miles away, there's the Austin one, which is 2 months and 100 miles away. Then there's Dallas in November, which is my event, which is still going to be very, I guess, mid-sized, small, but we don't have a huge threshold to meet either because our budgeting is very careful. You have one in Omaha, Nebraska, which is the same weekend as Equestria LA. You have Fiesta Equestria a week before Anthrocon, and Everfree Northwest, which is the same week before Anthrocon. I think you have one in Tennessee, 3 in Ohio. Well, 2 in Ohio. One's trying to pop up. Someone's trying to resurrect Candlelit Gardens. Yeah, good luck with that. Then there's one day one in Florida, which we'll see about that.
Cloudsdale Congress.
Congress, which is next week, and all eyes are on them. And you have Big Apple PonyCon, which is in a month, and BronyCon, which is in August, I think.
Yes.
So there's a whole bunch of cons that are going to have to be looking at their budgets long and hard. And like I said, Cloudsdale Congress terminated 2 of the contracts they had with 2 of the season one shots, which is, saves them $3,000 to $5,000. And that's just because these cons realized that BronyCon was a fluke. BronyCon Summer was a fluke because it was the only game in town, but now there's a lot of other smaller cons. And that's not to say that the Brony community is not fairly large, but
we don't all have to go to every con there because now there's cons all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, within Texas, it's actually, I would think, fairly reasonable to have 2 major cons in Brony Fanfare. Nightmare Nest Dallas has 28,000 square feet.
Fiesta Equestria has a larger number than that, but Brony Fanfare has a max of like 12. So Brony Fanfare is going to be small. But when you have two major cons like Fiesta Equestria and Night Runners Dallas, people go, well, why does the state need two? Well, I mean, there's two cons 260 miles apart and 5 months apart.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I see a lot of griping about the convention scene being too large, but it's also about spacing and timing.
I don't
and
mind
sizes.
See, this is something I've argued. I don't mind that there's a lot of conventions. It's just it needs to just be a understanding of the sizing. Like, there's no problem that if you have 10 conventions. What does matter is if you have 10 conventions that think they can all pull 3,000 people. It's not going to happen.
Feather Props can be bringing up that, yes, Texas has like the second largest concentration of bronies. Because, well, California is the biggest, but that's because you also have two of the largest metropolitan areas in the country.
Right.
Likewise, Dallas has something like 9 million people living in the metropolitan 5 or 6 county area around Dallas and Fort Worth. And Houston probably has about that much.
So I mean, there's that, definitely the agents part of it. So that deals with because we mentioned there were two parts there were the death knell of where this money wasn't. The first was the fact that there was the agents, and it almost seemed like they caught themselves in a catch-22. They realized that they needed more talent to try and drive more people. So they went in and got more talent, which cost more money in the hopes that it would drive more people. It was just kind of the cyclical thing. Well, if we go
6 million people, I was wrong.
Oh, 6
still.
Oh, okay. But
still 6.5 ish.
Okay. But
that's still a lot of people.
So that was something that was seen there. Now, Sandy, you can also speak to this because this is kind of one of the more confusing bits about how conventions work is how a convention works with the hotel to sell room blocks.
Okay, so a convention, to secure the space within it, needs a room block. That is the amount of rooms that you have to meet at least 80% of to fulfill your contract with the hotel, as well as not owe them money for the remainder up into 80%. So when you miss your room block, the hotel gets very angry, and you owe them for every room night you missed at the regular rate. So if you missed 100 room nights, you would owe $100 or 100 times the current room night rate for that room, which is generally way higher than the actual room rate you pay. It's on the back of any hotel door you look at that tells you this is the going rate for this hotel room, and you never ever ever pay it unless you've made that hotel angry and screwed up your contract. So what happened with Unicon in a lot of ways is that they missed their room block astronomically bad. I can only assume, because for my event, for what we've got, we have on order of like a dozen rooms that we have as available that are comped if we meet our room nights, which we have a very reasonable room night rate. If we have somewhere on the order, if like 200 people stay 3 nights, we're good. Something like that. So you don't need a ton of people to stay at the hotel for us to be golden. But when you're in Vegas and the Riviera and you have this massive room block and you expect 3,000, 4,000 and have up to 8,000 on your website, clearly they renegotiated with a ginormous room block. And that's probably how they were promising out all these comped rooms. Right. Which
didn't do them any favors.
No, because after everything went, the room nights were no longer comped, and the people whose cards were on the room for incidentals got charged the amount. And this was pretty much everybody except it seems to be you, AC.
I'm a lucky one.
But
I got out of Dodge quick. Don't worry. The one thing that I have to wonder is remembering the way that they had set up their packages. There were packages that included the room. So you registered and it included the room. And I almost look back at that now and go like, that probably didn't count as part of the room block.
No.
It was comped. So that was almost another like little ding against them, because people who had actually paid these expensive packages weren't actually being counted towards the room block that was important to fulfill the convention.
And they got charged for their rooms.
Right.
So
That's
the
ridiculous.
poor schlubs that paid $1,500 to have an executive suite, well,
Get to pay for an executive suite
No, they
again.
got screwed the worst. They really did. And that includes a couple of my friends. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
yeah. So the financial impact on this community and the trust impact on this community from this fallout is going to be astronomical. And we in the media need to be more careful in the future. We had her on our show. We had this con on our show, and it all seemed pretty darn up and up. And we didn't do. I don't think we did our due diligence.
Well, everyone
But
did.
nobody did. Nobody had reason to. You know, I stated on Twitter that I was a little embarrassed that this had occurred because we didn't vet them properly. But why would we? We hadn't. We went forward in good faith, expecting these people to be on the up and up, and unfortunately, that doesn't seem like it can be a case anymore.
Well, but here's the thing that I found was I think this is just simply such an outlier of a situation that we never could have saw it happen like this. I mean, I've been saying, and I've been kind of guessing for a while, we were going to have a convention that failed. And by failed, I'm putting that in air quotes, as in it came out at a loss, which could have been they paid everything, but they still ended up having some money that they needed to pay for a room block or for some other stuff. In the end, it would have came out as a loss. People would have heard about it, and they would have shuddered. And I think the con community would have went, "Oh, we should look out for this. This is dangerous." I think what's here is that it wasn't just a little bit here, a little bit there. It was a lot everywhere. It was just simply the blazing fireworks of just the entirety of almost every back end part of that convention, between the bits that were given out that turned into fake money that now you can buy at the Las Pegasus thing, and they're even more expensive than their list price because they're just silly now. The
worth less than the money from Zimbabwe.
The vouchers to get food, where when you bought the packages, you were told that you could go get food and that you would be fed each day, was simply to pick up stuff at the hotel dine-in banquet that was there in the dealer's hall that had nothing particularly edible.
Had good coffee though.
I didn't. I steer away from those things whenever I'm at conventions.
No, the coffee was legit. I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, just randomly, I got a $2 cup of coffee. Yeah, it was $2, but hey, it was actually pretty freaking good coffee. I was like, this has a lot of flavor. All right.
So, yeah,
There you go.
the convention itself is going to be a black eye that lasts a long time. But, however, we should get off of this and move on to Las Pegasus.
Indeed. I think
a lot of good is coming out of this horrible mess.
True. And I think there's been tons and tons of places that you can find further information. 4chan seemed to have in their head for a while that it was a scam. I far more believe that it was simply really bad planning all through and through, and just overestimations that happened here. So Las Pegasus. So as mentioned, I got sidelined with the flu immediately afterwards and pretty much was in a bed watching all of this happen between fever dreams and passing right back out. So
In the meantime,
yeah, go ahead and Sandy.
all right. In the meantime, everybody else who was still alive, and even I, on a very small scale, started getting things together. Nighty, who runs FemFiction, got a website together, Las Pegasus, that would serve as an auction site. This actually, let me start at the beginning. So the initial Las Pegasus raised 12 grand to cover the agents and the VA's travel and expenses for the most part. That at least made some of them happier.
Yes, that was, and just to clarify real quick, that was ultimately what we kind of hoped, that around that number, because that was when we came into stuff and we kind of went like, what is a minimum like that you can give us if you waive base fees and all this stuff? Like, give us something we can try. It was around that ballpark number, and that was kind of the okay, Hasbro technically can't be upset because they got paid.
Yeah.
So
none of the agents or the VAs didn't get their appearance fees, and that's unfortunate. But at least they weren't completely out of pocket on their rooms and their flights. So they're not completely writing us off as a community. Going forward, the realization was that there were a lot of people that had really been burned. A lot of people within the media, a lot of musicians, both of the charities, Brony Thank You Fund, Your Sibling Stuff, I think it is, and Kiki's Relief Fund. Both of those had events going on during the weekend that were supposed to have raised money for them. The income from said events, well, we don't know where it's at. And I personally wouldn't know, but they don't know where the money is. It's gone.
Well, the weird thing is, I talked to them and they seem to know where the money is. They seem to have this idea, this veil of, well, we paid them.
Uh-huh. And the charities are going,
but where's the money, Lebowski?
Yeah. So, anyways, the community has gotten together to try to make the community whole and has done a very good job of it. Nighty of FemFiction put together a website where people could bid on things via a forum system. A lot of people contributed. Amy Keating Rogers and Megan McCarthy put forth the shirts they had worn to the con. Washed, of course, so you can't make your horrible clone armies. Interplay put forth an entire set of the Series 1 cards, including all the chase, all the golden, all the promo cards. It went for $1,600 to $1,800. The Brony Doc people put forth 50 signed copies of the Ultra Super Mega Deluxe DVD at $100 a pop, and then donated the entire $5,000 to the fund to help make the community whole. So, and everybody has worked together on this, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the same page, and it's Celestia Radio working with EFN, working with Bronyville, working with Equestria Daily, working with Derpy News. Everybody is playing ball here, and I know I'm going to be leaving out people's names because I just don't pay enough attention sometimes to who all is in the media sphere. I just know who I interact with on a regular basis. And so all these groups have come together. Ponyville Live, I think, was another one, have come together to salvage this. And to that end, we have been successful. All the people that were on the list who are supposed to be comped, their rooms should be covered. All the artists, you know, all the people that were brought in on the community side that were promised a bunch of stuff, they're getting made whole. I believe the musicians are getting their $50 covered that was promised.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice.
And then after all is said and done, the remainder is going to be split back amongst the two charities that got burned completely by this. So, you know, those of us in the Pony Media that participated, thumbs up, well, to us, because at this point we want there to be a community to. And I joked about this, it's like, yeah, I retweeted something from Final, and I really would like to bury the hatchet with him. We need to work together going forward and pretend, because we are a part of one community. And, we've both been jerks to each other in the past, and I would like to move past that. So to that end, sorry, Final, I'm kind of a jerk sometimes.
Yeah.
I wait. You can apologize on your own time if you want to. So...
well, let me say this before you do this, Sandy, because this treats right back into what I was going to state. I wanted to talk about earlier. So I had actually, I think I told you before the con, I wanted to approach Fidel and, just, be honest with him and talk to him. And so I approached him Thursday and I said, listen, some stuff had been done. Some stuff had been said. I think things got out of hand. I'm sorry for my part in it, and I really hope that, I really am in this more to be more to make friends than enemies. I would rather have, there's no way I would ever want to actually make an enemy, because this is all about horses and colorful ponies, and it's just supposed to be silly fun. And there had definitely been stuff that had been said that was not entirely nice and was going off of misinformation and was completely grounds for him saying, well, you can say that, but actions speak louder than the words. He pretty much said, no, what you've done before, I'm not forgiving you for. You have said stuff and I can't trust you. And when I walked away from that, I walked away pretty ticked off. And then everything happened on Saturday and Sunday. And we worked together. Well, I worked a lot with mostly a lot of the other EFN staff, but it was not something where we were conversing. We were working together. We were doing stuff together. And I'll say he runs one damn fine network. And I think everybody, after all of this is said and done, actually went, there's no stupid reason we should fight. There's no stupid reason there should be any division. And I've noticed it. EQD now posts Everfree Network stuff on the front page again. We're talking and retweeting to people that work at Everfree Network. Something that was really good that came out of this is that at conventions moving forward, we're hoping to actually have media summits where if a guest has time to speak, all the groups join together in one particular room and ask questions. No more fighting to get somebody. It's actually a point where we can all hopefully work together and actually just be useful in this stupid community.
It's really funny that you're saying that, because I didn't really have a mission. I just was talking and it kind of formed in my head. And I was like, okay, the Brony media groups have a lot of this fighting and crap that's going on. And I didn't like it. I was like, why? Because I've seen the best and worst of everybody just because I kind of hang around in the background. I was there when EFN started. Like, I was almost on their network, kind of, except I was like, no, because my show is too tough for TV. But, and I was like, the more I thought about it, I was like, okay, with all of this competition, who is like actually losing out more? It's the content creators and people in the fandom who just want the news. Like, when you have all this divisiveness, it just ends up causing problems, not just for the networks themselves, but for the people who go to it. And I was like, okay, I need to talk to everybody. I want to talk to everybody and get things ironed out and see if I can like influence something in some way. Turns out like this happened, but it's just really funny because LPU is the chance I got to talk to Seth. I got to talk to Final a couple of times. I talked to DJ Shamrock. I didn't talk to you, but I'm talking to you now.
You are.
And I was just like, what little can I do without, putting myself on the firing line? Can I, because, I've got music I need to promote. and see if I can help people out who want to, do pony music and get heard. I mean, not even, not whatever, because it's, making music about ponies. You should do it for, just to make music about ponies. But, for people who are like, yeah, I made this really cool song. I really believe in it. And nobody wants to listen because, in the old days when this, last summer or 2 summers ago, it was like you'd release something and a bunch of people would be like, yeah. And like that's not going to happen again. But now it's just kind of almost in reverse where people are just like, oh, OK, and I like to see people get a little bit more out there just because, you don't want to post to EQD and X other place because you're scared that if you do that, then another place is going to be like, no, we can't have, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You don't want to pick sides. And if everybody's working together, then you can pick every side and nobody cares.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And some people are asking what was the stuff between ourselves and Everfree Network. Some of it, as I said, was misinformation stuff about, I think that there was. The way I always feel is whenever I go to a convention, I'm going there as a presenter. One of the things I love to do is be an MC. I hate being bored at a convention, sitting up in a room, or just simply walking around and trying to figure out what to do. I love to do panels. I love to do events. I love to be out there talking on the mic, interviewing people, because that's where I shine the most. And for a lot of the conventions, ever since Brony Con winter, we've not had the opportunity to do that. And a lot of it was just simply because Everfree Network, with their large staff that they have on, would simply be able to fill all those spots simply with the staff that they had on record, which, as you can see, if they aren't asking people that are outside of their particular cluster if they want to participate, could make people who want to participate a little bit embittered. That's my particular take on it. Then there were some other stuff dealing with times where we asked to be on EFN and were rejected for reasons that I still think are kind of dumb, silly, that have been discussed before. I think I'm still going to be a little bit sour on that, but such things are as it is. Nothing that you couldn't just work around.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, and somebody brought up, this is kind of like the end of Watchmen, where, Ozymandias succeeds and all the world bands together to fight the alien menace.
That doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. In the movie, it was Dr. Manhattan, but in the comic, it was aliens.
The comic
monsters.
was better, yeah.
Yeah. So... Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I hope this continues forward because, as said, I am far, far, far more interested to have friends throughout all this than enemies. And the only group I could say thus far that ever was a thing, and it didn't even happen with the rest of EFN. As said, I'm friends with Dusty. I like the Equestria Inquirer guys. It just simply was just butting heads between Final Draft and just because of some stuff that was done and some misinformation.
And like I said a little bit ago, I'd like to move past that.
Yep. So, if you are listening to this, consider this our apology or our just come to terms. I think we're all sick of it, and let's
have a come to Celestia meeting.
Yeah, let's just get this over with, please.
I'm in tears over here. It's like a bit of an era.
So is there anything, I mean, there's so much about Unicon that could still be said, and yet I think that's probably all that needs to be said.
Yeah, we have talked this to death. We're at 2.5 hours we're 2.5 hours on the call, so.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move forward. Stuff will progress as new things happen with this. I'm sure we'll have a little bit of Lost Peg assistance still within the next few weeks, so we'll keep you updated on that in the ever so slow method that a podcast can be.
So, episode discussion time.
Yes, so what's the episode this week?
Episode discussion, The Soup Terpinian. If If you ever listen to our tabletop games, you know who they are. Fluttershy and Applejack go to visit a new soup shop that Rarity has been raving about, but find the owner is about the meanest pony in Bronyville. Can they turn some pony who'd yelled, "No soup for you," into a pony worth knowing?
Sorry.
Our fake episodes are so good.
Yes.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Yes. Oh, Tarpany, why are you so
German.
villainous?
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and move this forward.
Hit these emails.
Let's hit these emails. Let's try and make a quick work of them, too. And by the way, Cyril, I believe yours is kind of more of a commercial than anything else. So just giving you a heads up there.
What? I have an email.
Yeah, you got an email that you can read. Or maybe it got moved around. It looked like it got moved around. Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Go ahead. I'll read it.
So you can always send emails to us at bronyville@gmail.com. I will start first, Sandy second, and Cyril will get thirdsies. Sup, Bronyville?
Yo.
It's your mayor from Georgia, Digit Shine, with some responses to episode 92, Friendship is Quantifiable. In it, you talked about herd census. Well, I preferred my own survey that garnered over 300 responses. The Ultimate Brony Survey 2012. I'm quite happy and fascinated to tell you that his statistics and mine match up very nicely with negatable differences. Negigable.
Negligible.
Sure, those words.
Say it right.
I don't care.
Oh, AC. English.
Negigable. A couple things that my survey garnered that was a heat map of where bronies live, where they prefer to live. Something I was disappointed to hear was the infamous question, who is best pony? When I tried to answer the 4, which main 6 is the favorite, best for storytelling, do you like most, and most importantly, overall character. As you can see from these, Rarity is best main 6, unless you can compare her to everyone else. Then Luna is the best. Rarity becomes worst main 6. What?
Oh, wow. Meaning within the main 6, she is the best main 6, but when you compare her to everybody as a whole, all the ponies, like overall, Luna's the best and Rarity's the worst. Somehow.
Weird. Something else my survey gathered more data is how many bronies consider themselves furries. My question was not, are you a furry, but rather, how well does this trait describe you? Through the survey revealed about 17% of bronies to be furries. Mine revealed that about 11 are strongly, 10 are moderately, 11 are weakly. This puts the number of bronies that consider themselves furry at 32%, according to the UBS. Nearly double the herd census's 17%. This is really all the information that I've processed enough to share at this point. Hope this helps Digit Shine.
That was actually kind of interesting. I like data.
Yep.
Data.
I am a weak furry. I cannot lift things with my paws.
Oh, AC. Moving on. Thank you for your email, Digit. Hey, AC, Sandalicious, Starry, and Cyril. They put Mike on there for some reason. Really hope I'm right about the Mike being there and that I freaked him out. Nope. Sorry.
What? How did you know I was Mike? No, I'm just...
Oh, that's a terrifying double identity. Season 3 is over, and we have a whole year, almost, to wait before Season 4. What will we do? This is the worst possible. Wait, we have Double Rainbow to look forward to. Nice. Anyways, before I get to my question, I'd like to say, when I saw Amy Keating-Rogers at Unicon wearing a Derpy shirt and she wrote the whole Derpy song, serious amounts of liquid pride leaked from my eyeballs. Should probably get that fixed.
Liquid pride.
Yes, they should come from your tear ducts, not your eyeballs. You should get that checked out. Despite all that happened with Derpy Gate or the Derpocalypse or whatever you want to call it, she still loves Derpy. That meant a lot to me, and I think to other bronies out there too. Now, on to my question. We have a whole year to guess what will happen in Season 4 and to bug all the staff via Twitter about it. But what is one episode that you'd really like to see? Personally, I want to see a Luna and or Celestia episode, preferably a backstory episode. Over Seasons 1 to 3, a lot of characters have gotten their own episodes, and not just the main 6, so I leave out the ones who started it all. Anyways, very interested to hear what you have to say about that. Can't wait for the next podcast. Martis Grass. Yes, I got mine to Fluttershy and Doctor Who's vinyls in the post this week. Neither are the crystal variants, and the Doctor has a green tie.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
So let's see. There could always be a Gilda Redemption episode. I just want to see more adventure episodes. Now that Twilight is Princess Hack Celestia and has the wings and the horn and the magic powers, she gets to go out and be the special agent Pone, who with the main six has to go deal with threats to Equestria.
That'd be cool.
Let's see that.
I personally just want, I just want more Luna.
Or there could be a Power Ranger style episode. That'd be funny.
Actually, can I hear Luna sing? That'd be fantastic.
Ooh, you're asking a lot now. You get Celestia singing, now you got Luna singing.
If I get Luna singing, I would probably have Liquid Pride too. But anyway,
Gilda's pretty good. Gilda is pretty good.
Yeah, already Dash giving Twilight flying lessons would be nice too.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. As I said, I've got my guesses for season 3. I was actually thinking next time we have some time that we have an episode that we need to just kill, we should definitely try and plot out what we think our season 4 bingo would be.
Oh yeah,
plan out something like that, or at the very least try and do our season 4 predictions. I swear, there's going to be a royal baby.
Oh snap! Let's go to my macaroni party and take a nap.
Yep, that's where I'm gonna. That's where my bills are on the table. That's gonna be what it's gonna be this season. It's gonna be Cadence and Shining Armor's little baby. Yep. All right. That sounds good. Let's see. Go ahead. Do you have access to the doc there?
Yes, I do.
All right. So let's see. So yours will be this pretty little highlighted bit.
Oh
God, it's so big.
You gave me a long one. Jeez, I'm crow, guys. It's a good thing I read fast and accurately. So I'm going to read, since you said this is kind of advertising, I'm going to read it like this. Good day, Apple Cider Chef Sandy. Sorry, an awesome guest.
It's not actually an advertisement. Actually,
whatever. I'm going to read it like that anyway.
Okay.
Unless you think it's disrespectful, in which case I'll deign from that.
I just will you be able to continue through that entire long email?
You don't know what I'm able to do.
All right, fine. Show me.
Anyway, I'll restart. Good day, Apple Cider Chef Sandy Starry and awesome guests. I'm guessing Cyril Velocity. It's close, but not quite. I'm sure you have a ton to talk about and have received lots of email in the aftermath of Lost Pegasus Equestria. But I thought I'd contribute to it anyway and provide my view as a regular first-time congoer. On Thursday, during early registration, a lack of organization was already apparent to me when the only thing that was ready was my con badge itself. I was told con books, hyphenated for some reason, sweet and elite badges, and the special Amy Keating-Rogers concert shirts would be ready the next day. On Friday, things hadn't improved, and still the only thing which was ready was to be picked up when I was checked were the con badges themselves. I put this down to first-year con problems. On Saturday, there was still no progress. It was the night during the celebrity dinner that I, as a regular con-goer, witnessed the Brony and show talent have to take things over in order to have some semblance of organization to the function. On Sunday morning, Lee Tokar at the panel made it clear to everyone that the original organizers were no longer running the con, and there was a need of a lot of additional money, or a lot of people weren't getting paid. Shortly after, I think the second panel I saw that day, in between the time of going to my room and returning to the con, the vendor's room had been shut down, and things continued chaotically from there. Good job. Actually, I guess it would be chaotically. But either way, after this, was the con still enjoyable? For me, it was. The celebrity dinner was a highlight, and experience at Nicole's table was everything I was hoping it would be. The panels I attended were still very good, and at the final day after the VAs knew they weren't being paid, they stayed and made the best of a bad situation for the fans in attendance. I'll let others talk about the problems behind the con itself, but as an attendee, I want to say kudos to everyone who stood up and tried to make things right for the fans. There were many people who didn't just let things slide into complete chaos and really did their best to make sure that everyone could still have a good time as much as possible. It's been interesting to hear what was going on behind the scenes, and since I've returned home, and again, well done to you, EFN, and all other Brony media who came together to try and steer things right. I'm eager to hear how your experience differed from mine being there as part of the media. If you read this, sorry for the enormous letter, and thank you for your time, Timo Warner.
There we go.
Yeah, I spent time with Timo. He's a good guy. Thanks, Timo. He gave me a whole bunch of Canadian candy.
So, sorry for relating all your typos, Timo, but I do not pull punches. I read bad fan fiction for a living. Well, or for my liver's living, or the anti-liver living. Anyway.
Something like that.
Wow, I can't tell you're a business major at all.
I will destroy this document. Okay.
Hey.
Let me do this. Oh, it's my turn.
Oh, okay. Yes, right.
Okay.
You can read it because
guess.
the next one's the advertisement. So,
I'll read the advertising.
okay. Hey, Bronyville Podcast CF or Apple Sandy. Oh, you know who you are. I sent you a message on Google Plus, but decided probably not to check it often. So I'm sending you an email. Hopefully get you on the show because even though I'm an introvert, I want to hog the spotlight and steal the show. Mwahaha. Just kidding. But anyway, I'm here to tell you I'm working on an animation, the most recent tabletop Cross of Iron. By the way, I saw your character sheets and already did the next tabletop to this island, Equestria. When are you going to release that? I believe, has that. A preview of the animation is already up. Hope you like it. Also have a question for Starry. Do you have an OC? I've never seen yours. Sent from Twilight Sparkle's iPad. She left in her library when she became an alicorn and moved to Canterlot. Respectfully, Dark Spacer 1. Okay, I gotta check this YouTube.
Yes, click the link. It is the thing.
How long have you been listening to this podcast and you still don't know?
All right, let's see. I gotta check this animation. Oh, you're such a pretty filly.
I know.
Oh, you're such a pretty filly there, Sandy.
I am the cutest princess.
You really are.
Link it in the chat.
I know you're so. All right, hold on. So, Starry, where can someone find the references of your character?
You go to Justin.tv.
Or you could. What's that Tumblr of yours that you occasionally post things on?
No, don't.
Ask
go.
Starry. No, ask. It's just Ask Starry, right?
No, don't go there.
Go to askstarry.tumblr.com.
No.
Or just look at what Bullshit actually follows, and you can find her every once in a while, and her references are on there. You could always go to McBirdie Turdy. Is that your deviant art? Is it? No. Yours is Saber Kitty. Is your deviant art? So you could go to that.
You're just failing at everything right
So, just go ahead and stalk her online. Follow her instant message handle. I'm not going to get that.
You know what? I will fucking.
And if you would like a lock of her hair,
language.
just send an email.
Just. All right.
Yeah.
There you go. I linked that in the chat. You are such a pretty filly there, Sandy.
I really am. All right, moving on. Let's finish this up before we hit the 3-hour mark.
Really? Because I got to do something at 3, and that's bad.
Because it's nearly 5 o'clock here.
Let's do it.
I'm going to get some dinner. All right. Are you going to Everfree Northwest 2013? Want to give to charity but are strapped for cash? How about saving a life for free? This year, Everfree Northwest is partnering with the Puget Sound Blood Center for a blood drive during the convention on Sunday, July 7th. They're skeptical we can get 40 people to donate. Let's show them what generosity really means.
With blood.
Donating blood is easy, almost painless, takes less than an hour, and comes free with refreshments
Of blood.
If that sounds good to you, email your name and phone number to giveblood@everfreenorthwest.com to show your support. Must be 18 or older, weigh at least 110 pounds, and generally be in good health.
And full of blood.
Thanks, and we hope to see you at Everfree Northwest, Austin.
Donate blood for ponies, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the advertisement.
Paid for by the campaign to try and get more blood for ponies.
Blood, yeah.
I can't believe
P.S. If you need a fic, I recommend Arrow 18 Mission Logs by Admiral Tigerclaw, and there's a link on fanfiction.
Woo!
Yay. Last email, Cyril. Help us finish this up.
Dear Apple Cider, Chef Starry, and me, because I'm the wonderful guest. The last month has gotten me down in the dumps with takedowns, fandom drama, and S3 ending. But the last week has been a 1-2 punch of just how awesome Bronies and the show can be. First was an amazing musical season ender. I have spent 2 weeks singing True True Friend, and now I really want to see the further adventures of Princess Twilight Sparkle. And then LPU melted down. I was certain for several hours that this was the end of the cons, and then Pegasus happened. I've never been prouder of the fans, the staff, and the Brony media community. We helped correct a terrible wrong, and those hurt will soon see a redress of what they were promised. I am confident that the Bronies will emerge stronger, smarter, and better than ever before. I look toward the future of ponies. By the way, Scootaloo is best pony. Corey Powell is best episode, and Ponies is the best fandom. A faithful listener. Stormy skies in the deserts of Arizona. Posted from my phone. Sorry for any typos.
Scootaloo is an excellent CMC.
It's really funny. Right before this, I was recording my Scootaloo song that I wrote on the plane to Vegas. So interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for the emails. We're going to finish this up really fast. We've got our 5-star iTunes Bronies, 772 ratings. And we had a very, very nice one from Hecadilio, looks like. So, ratings this week: Sarok 13, Niles Olaf Bovine, 5 Iron Brony, Fear and Loathing. I'm going to guess it's H. Cedillo. And Nala I Shot. And donations this week from E. Leonardson, because we appreciate people that just this when they set up a weekly donation, which is great because we really appreciate that.
Yay, it's super helpful. Thank you. You rock.
Yep. Woohoo.
All right.
Cool things. AC.
Yep. I'm supposed to have a cool thing, aren't I?
Yeah. Did you survive this week?
You know what? There's actually something I will list here. I've been enjoying this this kind of slice of life comic series, but it's not slice of life. It's pretty much the comic series by Muffinshire of the Twilight's First Day. It's very, very. I'm just gonna link the First Day. It's very slice of life. This will link you to the 6th comic of the there we go, of the span, and it's just simply really, really cute of young Shining Armor and young Twilight, her going to her first day of magic school, and Shining Armor going to his first few classes of on the guard, and it's just cute. It is
super cute.
It's saccharine sweet. So go check that out. That is the 6th one, but you can catch up on them very easily because there's not too many of them. Twilight's First Day. Sandy?
Mine is, I guess it's not very cool, but it's a very well written and fairly lengthy travelogue from Kefka Floyd at the Round Table called Fear and Loathing in Las Pegasus. So it's a good read. It's pretty long. There's lots of photos and a lot of corroborating stuff to what we said. Because, yeah, this totally did happen.
We're not just making it up.
What a trip.
I don't know if I consume enough Brony media because I was like, crap.
Well,
do you not have a link?
Promote yourself.
Yeah, you could always just link your stuff.
Promote myself.
We'll do it.
Okay. I have a YouTube, Cyril Rufus on YouTube, and I also have a SoundCloud called Cyril the Wolf. I also have cyrillyric.bandcamp.com, and that is all my music. I just released an album called Searching. It's kind of dark. For some reason, it has a bunch of Spike songs on it, and a song called White Nights. And I'm pretty sure that my music's been featured on here a bunch of times because I've been bullshit. So,
Well,
let me see. Yeah, and basically that's it. Go check out my album. Eventually, it's all going to be released for free. So don't worry about that.
Link it in the chat.
Yeah. So I guess just my YouTube, check it out. Follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, whatever. I mean, that's the cool thing. I have been reading this comic called Fancy Adventures of Jack Cannon, though. So fantasyadventures.com. That's not Pony. I just really like that webcomic.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily have to be Pony.
No.
Oh, good. Then I'll link it.
No. Oh, no, don't you
it's
dare.
Like there's other things besides Pony in the world. What a surprise.
Yeah, I'm too busy generating content to actually consume anything. It's just I've been reading Fancy Adventures for a long time, and I don't know of enough people who are aware of it. It's very well drawn, very creepy, but it's really good. So
all right. Well, guys, I got to go ahead and we got to bolt for this episode because I got to go back to work in like 9 minutes. So
okay, well,
let's go ahead and do this. It's time to go ahead and end this episode. So first off, I want to go ahead and say very big thanks to Cyril. Thanks for jumping in here. We need to bring you on to talk a little bit more about your music and your process, moving on in the future. You were just...
We had this Las Pegasus thing happen, and yeah.
Yeah, I figured that. But hey, if you want me on, just Sandy, hit me up Twitter, whatever.
Totally.
All right.
Sandy, as always, Thunder Maker, at least this time, Thunder Calmer.
Yes.
You can work both ways.
Things will get better.
Oh, how sad.
Calm down.
Oh, okay. And as always, thank you to all of our great fans, be it if you are those in the Justin TV room, if you are those that are part of the... that are out there in the random internet that is listening to this on their iTunes or listening this over at the Brony Show website. You know what? Love you all. You're awesome. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. You can always go and follow us, find our website over at bronyshow.com and bronyvillepodcast.com. Our email address is bronyville@gmail.com. You can join us roughly every Saturday, noon Pacific Standard, or coming up noon Pacific Daylight Time at justin.tv/Bronyville Podcast. iTunes reviews, we love them. We're at 772, and one day I'd love to be at 800. You can listen to the show on Celestia Radio every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and 11 p.m. UTC. My Twitter account is at Bronyville.
Mine is That's Just Andy.
I have the meetup group Bronies of Northern California.
And I have the one Brony's North Texas.
And conventions is a big question mark right now.
Yeah, it really is.
Yep. All right, every pony, we're going to go ahead and cut this. This has been episode number 95. Glad you all were able to join in for a long one. We will, as always, be back next week.
We have one of the writers for an IDW mini coming on.
Woohoo!
Ooh.
Comic book writer next week. Excellent. Tease that at the very end. All right, let's go ahead and call this one out. Sleep well, every pony.
Sleep well!
Hit the button!
The button's so far away. We're sorry, seeing so far away.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry.
We will sing together, and the mountains will hear our call. And we will raise our voices, remembered forever, the land of Equestria. As one mind, as one soul.